Okay, so we had a pretty red day. You're looking at the S&P. The scoreboard was down 3.3% or so. We did take another spill after hours. We were down a little bit more than 4% on the NASDAQ and the small caps. So all afternoon we've been discussing, I've had questions about why did we fall? I don't think it's as important as what now. So I'll address my statement as to why, and then we'll dive into what does that mean per index and maybe a few extra stocks. Mind you, we're going to have a webinar on Sunday. I sent out an email earlier today, I should say. In it, there's a form where you can submit your tickers. If you need help, let me know. We will review them live on Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. Here's the visual on the S&P through the SPX, and it looks pretty severe. Why? So my take is, if we didn't have arrows pointing, then I would go to ask why. But my take is that the path was set anyway, and whatever happened in the news acts as a trigger to price out whatever was supposed to happen. And when it's news like this, it will overdo it. So it develops the path that was going to happen anyway. They just do it a little bit faster, and they tend to overshoot. So just like not a lot of people ask, why are we breaking out and skyrocketing? I don't think we should get hung up as to why we're falling. We have had an unbelievable rally from April. Even if you don't count the depth of April, it is still an impressive rally by any means, any metrics, I should say. And so now we should look at, is this different? How do we go from here? And we should focus on the charts because the fundamentals are the same. We have had tariffs. They weren't gone. They were just delayed. We have inflation. We have a friendly Fed. We have a White House that's trying to do a lot. So the same givens. Oh, we have successful companies reporting amazing numbers, and next week the banks will start. We'll start with the S&P since we're here. I'll show the lines we had and the areas that we've been focused on. This was the forecast for today, which held up throughout most of the day until we lost the bottom end of the day. And we came back and we closed just below the range from the Fed day back on 9/17. And we fell into the red circle. And the red circle was just me highlighting an area that looked similar to not too long ago in August, when we had a small correction that bounced and resulted in a higher high. I thought the price pattern looked similar, and indeed it was, and we made a higher high. So now we're back into this. Now those two do not look the same. Okay, so from now, I would focus on what happens on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. In other words, what happens on the bounce. That's the important part. So far, we bounce and we make a new high. Is this one different? SPX 6702 matters. We'll put resistance in purple. And, give or take a few bucks given the size of the move today. 6660-ish. That one is an ish. Those are two big lines. I'm not going to add more lines. There's plenty more, but let's keep it simple. And as far as supports on the way down, it's hard to call it support, hard line, because it's been a while. So there is some weakness in the chart all the way down to 6,500. I have already highlighted 6,580 as important inside here, and we are testing it today. So I'm going to bring another purple line to 6,580, but I'm not going to call it resistance. I'm going to call it pivot. So the terminology matters for you, and hopefully you remember those. Just write them down, so then if you see them in the write-ups, you'll know what we're talking about. I'm going to move this out of the way. So now Monday, we will look at what happens on the bounce if we bounce, and what happens to the pivot. It's pretty important. And then we'll talk about support lower. Now there is something that might happen next week. One thing that happened was the VIX spiked. So luckily in the morning note, I had showed you a narrowing. I had those two arrows and I said, very tight move coming. Boom, it exploded higher. So that may have caused millions of losses. And the people that are short volatility, and it's been going on, will have to cover their margin calls. So they might be forced to sell stock, which could, in fact, exacerbate the bounce. We wouldn't be able to bounce. In fact, we might have more downside because they have 3 days, I think, to cover their margins. So it's a little bit more dire in the NASDAQ, believe it or not. They went from leaders to in trouble. Notice how the NASDAQ fell into the August breakout. I have had these two arrows on here for a couple of days. Here it becomes also a rebound story, and I'll keep us up to date with the levels. I think there are too many to mention, but if you want a round number, 602. And we will have a new round of earnings, and we'll see how much hope people had already built into the stocks or how much conviction they have on these dips, and will they buy it with ferocity. So forgive me, this is a messy chart. This is the IWM, the small caps. They too have taken a beating, and they went all the way deep into the beginning or the breakout from August. And I want to highlight August 22nd. That was the day, Jackson Hole, when Powell shifted his policy in a panic. That zone is 230 to 233. Keep that in mind on the way down. We can count on, oh, there we go. This support turning resistance. We're going to do these annotations live. And I want to also put one at 244 and that would be 237. Easy to remember. Oh, there it is. Okay, let's say get back into the blue box. This trade is yielding profits. You remember I said they have a bearish formation, and I want to short it with no money out of pocket. So we sold this call spread that brought us credits. We used the credits to finance this put spread. I still have that position. It is green, and the rate of return, you can't calculate it because this will play out. So I didn't pay anything for this. So whatever I get this, I sell this for is pure profits. So I think currently it was like maybe $400 a contract. All right. Hopefully this video, I mean, I'll try to keep it as short as possible, but I think it's pretty important. And to stay calm and kill zombies. That's about it. I'll see you on Sunday. And if you can't make it, I will record it for you.